Coming up on Made in Virginia, we're making our way down to Gretna, Virginia to Cap Shoes to learn all about the production of military uniform Oxford dress shoes. Then, we'll head up to Sayre Enterprises in Buena Vista to see the production of Navy recruit name tapes, tactical belts, and canteen straws. Production funding for Made in Virginia is made possible in part by the Virginia Foundation for Public Media, supporting public media initiatives throughout Virginia, and by at Atlantic Union Bank, we believe that Made in Virginia means something special, something unique. After all, Virginia is where tradition meets technology, where hard work combines with innovation, where artisans, entrepreneurs, small businesses, and corporations take business to the next level. We're there every step of the way as champions of Virginia businesses and as a proud supporter of Made in Virginia and Virginia Public Broadcasting. Founded in 1997, Cap Shoe Company started by manufacturing made-in-America shoes for the wholesale retail market, at a time when most all other domestic shoe factories were closing due to their inability to compete with imports from China. They began solely in women's fashion shoes in sizes and widths, but due to mom-and-pop stores declining in America, the company shifted to more uniform footwear. In 1998, they won their first contract for the Department of Defense, and today it represents a majority of their business. Today, they are one of the largest dress shoe manufacturers in the United States.
Well, we do primarily uniform. We own some branded women's lines, Johansson, Paradise Kittens, Valley. 30 or 40 years ago, those were big names in the shoe business, but the mom and pop shoe stores have really vanished, and a lot of those types of shoes are sold on the internet now. And over that period of time, we just started getting into more uniform type shoes. We won our first contract in 1998, and since then it's grown to a significant part of our business. Gretna is about 35 miles south of Lynchburg and about 30 miles north of Danville, Virginia. Most of the shoe factories that Craddock Terry had, and they had 7 at one time, were in small factories in Virginia. Dillwyn, Chase City, Gretna, Halifax. That way they could be important as an employer in that particular town, and that was the case here. There are only a couple of industries here in Gretna, and we're one of them. And, as a result, we have a very skilled, loyal workforce, and the biggest part of our success is the fact that we have good people.
I'm so proud to work with these people. I see my job as plant manager as a service to these people. I've got to see that they've got the information, the tools, the equipment they need to do their job properly. That's my job, and I take a lot of pride in it.
CAPS employs 125 to 175 dedicated, experienced, highly skilled men and women throughout the year, depending on product demand and contracts. They currently produce around 2,000 pairs of shoes per day, ranging from men's and women's military Oxfords, a combat foot for the Afghan Army, a welding steel-toed boot for the Navy, and most all women's military pumps.
Our quality is above everybody else's, in my opinion. But we're also small enough, we're large enough to do large contracts for the government, but we're small enough where we can turn on a dime. Again, being our corporate office being 8 or less people, we all work together and we can figure things out in a moment's time and go on to change this, change that, go after this, don't go after that. And so that's a big advantage.
There's only one thing in the shoe business you can't get around, and that's quality. If you can be late, your deliveries can be poor, you can have all kinds of things that can happen that can delay your product. But if you have bad quality, you're dead. So quality is very important, and I think we have a reputation for efficiency and quality sets us apart from a lot of other companies.
CAPS produces footwear with the highest rating the government gives to manufacturers. Because CAPS creates product for the military, they are required to source and create everything 100% domestically with documentation. This includes everything all the way down to the thread to be Berry compliant. The Berry Amendment requires the Department of Defense to produce all military items in the United States with all domestic components.
For the Defense Department, everything has to come domestically. A lot of it comes from New England. We get leather from Mississippi and also St. Louis and those areas like that. As far as other products that are not military related, we bring some things in from Italy and also from South America, but primarily Italy. We've got an injection molding machine that's on the way to us now that will enable us to make our own unit bottoms here with domestic materials. That'll be a big step for us and give us more independence as far as doing everything from start to finish.
The materials are ordered, received, and stored based on delivery orders received from the DLA, the Defense Logistical Agency. The orders are then processed and formulated in the Lynchburg office and sent to the factory for the production process to begin. The orders begin in the cutting department, where the upper components are cut in 12-pair case lots. From there, it moves to the fitting department, where they stamp a number in the lining to track the shoe, and everything is marked for stitching operations.
Yeah, actually, the tags that go through, the people initial on the back which operation they did. If the government calls, and the first thing we'll ask them, the customer, is what's the case number inside the shoe? They'll give us the case number. We can tell when it was produced, what materials were in the shoe, and who did the operations on the shoe.
Then the quarters are doubled and they line the vamps. They close the back quarters and add an eyelet. Then they top stitch the quarters. The vamp gets marked and a doubler is added. The lining is cemented to the vamp, and then they stitch the lining around the tongue of the vamp. Then they put in a toe stiffener. Next, the vamp is put in the press to combine all three parts. And then the vamping gets stitched to the quarters. The blucher gets bar tacked, and then they insert a counter to stiffen the heel. The insoles are cut to match the uppers. From there, it is put on a last. A last is a form they build the shoe around. They have lasts for every size and width of shoe they manufacture. Then it moves to the welt line. The welt is cemented to a ply rib, and then the welt is stitched to the rib.
I would say welts are the most important because you've got to stitch the welt on, and then you got to stitch the sole on, and those seams have got to match up properly. It takes somebody with skill to do that. I can't do it. I know how it's done, but I can't do it. I mean, you have to do it over an extended period of time to really get good at it, and we've got some of the best.
They staple the side lasting and upper to the ply rib with brass staples. Next, a sole is stitched to the welt, which is an extruded plastic product. An inseam trimmer trims off the excess. They add a fiberglass shanking and cement in a filling pad. Then they attach the sole with the sole laying machine that heats it up and sticks the sole to the welt. A rough rounding machine trims excess sole to be even with the welt. Then the sole is stitched to the welt. The last is pulled out of the shoe. The heel gets attached from inside with nails. A sourer machine smooths out the heel and edges of the shoe. The edge trimmer shapes the sole into pairs. Once that is done, they trim the sole and the shoes then move to the finishing operation. There, the shoe is washed, sock-lined, labeled with CAP's logo, laced, and inspected.
If we have a damage and say that the left shoe's a damage, we put that box of shoes away and mark on the box that the damage is a left. So if the same size comes up and we have a damage on the right, we match the two. The left and the right as a pair of damages, and the other left and right as a pair of good product to ship out the door.
The shoes are finally boxed, 6 pairs to a case, and shipped out.
What the government recommends we do when we can, they want to see a full skid of the same size. So what he'll do, he'll stage his shoes as we send them out of the packing room. He'll stage them by size and style out here, and then on Thursdays when we finish packing, then he'll gather all those up to build his skids so he can get as many of the same size on one skid as possible.
CAPS was honored to be selected by the White House in 2018 to represent the state of Virginia in the Made in America Forum held in Washington, D.C. They continue to make uniform footwear from the highest quality American components available. Recently, CAPS has made a deal to produce shoes for a major athletic shoe company and hope to bring more business to its factory and its people in Lynchburg and Gretna, Virginia.
Basically, we were selected by the White House to represent the state of Virginia in the Made in America Forum at the White House. And we were thrilled to go up there, and it was really a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It was in the East Room. You know, we spoke extensively with Vice President Pence. President Trump generally would come around and visit everybody, but he was coming in from somewhere, and at the end he was there to make a speech. But it was a fascinating process to go through, and we really enjoyed it, and we're very proud to be representing the state of Virginia.
CAPS is a proud Virginia company and celebrates their Made in America tradition of manufacturing.
We're all native-born Virginians, very proud to be Virginians. And, you know, I'm not interested in living anywhere else. And, you know, we have such good people here and a good workforce, and just, it's almost like a big family.
It gets in your system, you know, the shoe business. I started right out of college in '78. I'm proud to say that I've lived in Virginia, born in Virginia, sent 4 children through school with the help of my job, and all of them went to Virginia schools, and just hoping that I can retire Virginian and live here forever.
As Tom said, we're very proud of our people. They're very hard workers. It's one of the best plants. I've worked in several shoe factories in my career. This is probably the best I've ever worked in.
Next, we travel to Buena Vista, Virginia to learn how Sayre Enterprises has been designing and manufacturing products to provide comfort, convenience, and safety for their customers for over 30 years.
I was in the U.S. military stationed in Germany back in the early 1980s when the terrorists were sort of attacking our forces, and I came up with an elastic band with Velcro on either end that when you stretch it, you can put it around your leg, and that keeps your pants inside of your boot. I wore those for about 5 years, and a brother of mine said, hey, we ought to start a business. So we started making elastic bands with Velcro on them called boot blousers, and lo and behold, we sold several million of those and decided to start a business.
Sayre started with one product made in their garage and have expanded their brands to over 150 products, which are featured in their 72-page catalog.
We started with one product in our garage, and it's funny, since that garage we grew up to a little bit bigger place and a little bit bigger place, and we've outgrown every facility we've been in. And today we have a catalog, 72 pages, and it pretty much divides our products into our brands. So we have a line of reflective products, a line of tactical accessories, a line of honoraria, probably over 150 different types of products that we make here in Buena Vista. One of the things we're really proud of is our design team here in Buena Vista, who's able to take a concept from a commander on a ship and transfer that into embroidered thread and making patches. So we are the Navy supplier for the FR coverall patches for about every ship that's in the U.S. Navy. Well, what's incredible about all of our embroidery business, it started by a mistake. We were in Norfolk with the Navy buyer, and she wanted to know if we could do embroidery. And I said no, and my salesman said yes. So we became embroiderers. The Navy in 1998 went from stenciled name tapes to embroidered name tapes, and they didn't have a supplier. So we said, hey, our job is to find out what your passion is, and we're going to fulfill it. So we started doing embroidery, and now we do every sailor that enters the U.S. Navy, all of his name tapes come right from this factory.
The name tape process begins each day when the Navy Recruit Training Command in Great Lakes, Illinois sends Sayre new Navy recruits' names. All recruit name tapes must be processed and returned to the Navy Recruit Training Command by the following day at 8:30 a.m. Sayre processes around 400 names every day, completing an overnight shipping over 3,000 name tapes.
If they come in that day, they have to go out that day. We have the same day turnaround. We can do anywhere between 3 stragglers to 450 names a day. They come in normally between 8 and 8:30, and we have to have them done by the end of our shift, 4 o'clock.
These names are first sent to the digitizing department, where text is converted to thread for embroidery. The digitizer then puts the recruits' names in numerical sequence and gives a file name to each page. The digitizer will copy and paste the names from the email and check for any names that are too long to fit in a standard 15-centimeter hoop. Each name that is too long will be deleted from the master list and digitized separately on another list to fit into the hoop. The stitch file is saved on a flash drive and sent with the corresponding hard copy to the floor for production. 1 digital file goes to the machine for production, and 3 copies of the file names go to quality control. The embroidery machine operator begins the day oiling the bobbins, verifying proper thread Pantone color, adjusting tensions as necessary, and then takes the drive and loads the file names into the multi-head embroidery machine. The operator then places Navy fabric material in each embroidery hoop, fills out the positions on the machine, and starts the embroidery machine.
You're setting your fabric into a hoop to be able to put into your machine. You're going to put your ring down, put your fabric in, which is a 7.5 piece name tape. You put it in the board and then lock it in with the top hoop. And you'll hoop 8 of those, set it to the side, and then lay them down on the machine.
Each name gets 7 Naval Warfare Uniform Type 3 camouflage pieces and 1 navy blue coverall piece. Once the operator completes the names assigned to their machine, they sign the stamp and place all finished names in a bag with each name separated and rubber banded. The bags of finished names are then taken to quality control, where they are inspected for quality of embroidery, number of pieces, spelling, and any other flaws.
They're checking for stitches, spelling, just everything to look good, because everything has to look good before it can go out here. They check for loose stitches, raveling, anything. And once they QC it and check it, they put it in bundles and ready for shipping.
Tab's Pro Tactical Web Belt starts with pulling 100 yards of military spec nylon webbing from their inventory.
Well, we saw a need in the military for the belt, and a belt at a better price and a better product on the shelf for the buyers. So we came up with 5 different styles of belts, and all but one of them are one size fits all. So you can imagine when you go to a belt rack and you're looking for your size, inevitably it's not there. Well, we have your size in all 5 styles. And one of the belts we have, I have a patent pending on that, the way we configure the Velcro to make it fit to your waist. And another belt we have has a no-flex stabilizer inserted into it, so if you're happen to carrying a weapon, ammunition, it doesn't flex. It's a great belt for gun carriers.
This webbing comes in various colors depending on customer request. Webbing is sent to the cutting floor, where an operator feeds the webbing into a web cutting machine. The cutting blocks are set to temperatures of 400 degrees on the top and 215 degrees on the bottom to ensure a good clean cut that keeps the webbing from fraying. Here, the webbing is cut to 63 1/2 inches to make a belt that will finish at 61 inches. Once the webbing is cut, it is placed in a bin and sent to the sewing floor. The sewing machine operator attaches a buckle and inside label on the webbing and sews it into an automated sewing machine that sews what is commonly referred to as a reverse W box pattern. This pattern ensures that the buckle will not tear away from the webbing if stressed. Then the belts are sent to another sewing machine operator, who will sew a 27-inch piece of Velcro brand loop material and 3 6-inch pieces of Velcro brand hook material on the webbing to make the completed belt. They place 3 pieces of hook on the belt so the customer can cut the belt to the desired length and heat fuse the end with an open flame so it doesn't unravel, thus making it a custom belt size. The finished belts are sent to packaging, where they are inspected for quality and placed in a cardboard presentation container. Finally, the completed package is then sent to shipping to send out to the customer.
The canteen straw is unique. A captain actually brought me the idea. He wanted to find a way that his soldiers could spend $5 instead of $80 in order to drink water while you're walking. So we came up with the configuration of the canteen straw. I got a cap, drilled a hole in it. We actually made 800 of those out of electrical tape, shoelaces, plugs for the ends of chairs, and before we got sophisticated in it, we sold those to the Alaskan National Guard, and I got a patent on the canteen cap configuration for that hydration system, and it solved the problem. Soldiers just simply tuck the end of the tube into their canteen that they're already issued by the military, and they attach it over their shoulder to their shirt and march on.
Tab's canteen straws start with 1/4 inch flexible food-grade vinyl tubing that is cut to 51 inches. Then they place the tubing inside a flat tubular polyester sheathing measuring 36 inches, leaving enough room on one end to place a valve that, when bitten, opens for water flow. Next, they place 2 pieces of shrink tubing on each end of the sheath using a heat gun. They heat it to 480 degrees, which secures both ends of the polyester sheathing to the vinyl tubing. Next, they take a canteen cap and drill a 9/16 inch hole in the cap for a grommet. A grommet insertion tool is used to place a grommet in the cap for an airtight seal. An FDA-approved hygienic moistener is dabbed on the vinyl tubing, and the water valve is slipped on the end of the tube. Then, a fastening clip is added to the center of the sheathing, so the user can fasten the hydration hose to the pocket within quick, easy reach. A small dab of moistener is put on the cap, and the vinyl tubing is pulled through the cap. The finished product is now inspected for quality, packaged, and sent to inventory for shipping.
Well, my brothers and I were born and raised about 45 miles from here. So when we started building our business and we got to a point where we could decide where we wanted to put it, naturally we came here. And we enjoy having a business here, building a business here. We understand the culture, and we've capitalized on the labor force that we have, and we provide a lot of jobs for a lot of people in a needy area, and we're happy to do that. Well, one of the things about being in Virginia is we are close to our U.S. military, and those folks on the East Coast know it very well. With the Navy, the Marine Corps, located down there, their headquarters, we have a lot of opportunities to ship our products to our customers within a matter of hours. In fact, from our headquarters here in Buena Vista, if we put something in a UPS package to send it to Norfolk on a Tuesday evening, it's there in Norfolk on Wednesday morning without any extra cost. So being in Virginia helps us that, the labor helps us, and we get some help from our folks in the political area to put some pressure on getting our product out there. Well, I think right now our country is hungry for products that are made in America. I think there is sort of a binge going on, and people are looking everywhere to how can we benefit socially by purchasing from our neighbors as opposed from overseas. So we are tucked right into that category right now, and so I think that the people who are buying our products buy it not just because it's a good quality product at a good price, but because it's made right here in America, made right here in Virginia.
Sayre continues to innovate, seek out new products, and offer the latest generation of high-performance solutions to their customers.
Well, over the years, I've been at this for 32 years. It gives me a great sense of pride to see our products being used by our service members. And I have seen them in different wars and different combat zones. And it sort of wakes you up to a little bit to you're doing something good for the country. And I know that all of our employees are proud to serve our military service members. And in a bigger way, as we grow, get into the commercial world with our products, I think we're going to have even a bigger reach. But it does make you proud to see something that's made in Virginia and it's worn across the world.
Cap Shoes and Sayre Enterprises are proud to support our military with American-made products and continue to grow and innovate their brands in Virginia and beyond. Production funding for Made in Virginia is made possible in part by the Virginia Foundation for Public Media, supporting public media initiatives throughout Virginia, and by at Atlantic Union Bank, we believe that Made in Virginia means something special, something unique. After all, Virginia is where tradition meets technology, where hard work combines with innovation, where artisans, entrepreneurs, small businesses, and corporations take business to the next level. We're there every step of the way as champions of Virginia businesses and as a proud supporter of Made in Virginia and Virginia Public Broadcasting.